Welcome to another episode of GeekOutdoors.com. So some of the most frequent comments that I've been getting on my channel here recently is, why do you have such low views despite the number of subscribers that you have? Now, this is definitely a question that I ask myself, and I think a lot of YouTube content creators are in the same position, ask themselves as well. And so today I'm going to attempt to answer that question by talking about why I have such low views. And then on the second half of this video, I'm going to be talking about the YouTube algorithm. And so all of this is going to be based upon my 4+ years of experience doing YouTube. And then secondly, my background as a digital marketer. So I'm going to be talking about analytics because digital marketers look at data. And so let's go ahead and start off with the first reasons. And that is the fact that I have a variety channel. So why is that important? Well, it's important because whenever you have a variety channel, you separate the viewers that are coming to see your videos. And so in this case, I currently have videos on video editing, I have videos on YouTube, I do gear reviews, and I have Linux videos as well. And so even though that's great from a content creator point of view, it gives you a lot of variety, that is not great whenever you're trying to grow a channel because you've just separated your viewership. And so some people might come for the gear reviews, some might come for video editing, some might come for Linux, some might come for YouTube, or maybe some might come just because they don't know what this channel is about. And whenever you do that, you run into a situation where not all your videos are going to get watched. And so that affects the overall amount of views that you get your channel. And bottom line, it's going to affect your growth. And so typically, my videos nowadays gets anywhere from 30 to 100 views. And if I compare that to my older videos, whenever I started Geek Outdoors years ago, it's really not that much better. And if I have to think about it objectively, my production quality and I would say content quality is way better now than what it used to be. And then even if I compare it to my other channel, I have a movie channel with 266 subscribers. It has about as many views or more views. And once again, the overall production and content quality is not as good as what I'm doing here on my main channel. And so that is the first reason why I have such low views, because I have a variety channel. And that's why so many people who are YouTube growth experts always recommend that you niche down and focus on really one core type of content. So you could have different things within that, but you need to stick to that. And that's the reason why. And this will also affect other things later on whenever I talk about the YouTube algorithm. And so now let's go ahead and talk about the second and probably the biggest things when it comes to the overall growth of your channel, and that is your audience. And so your audience really determines the overall long-term growth of your channel, and it also affects the algorithm in a very big way. So let's now get into the analytics. So now we're here in the channel analytics, and this is from the last 28 days. And as you can see here, my top video is my Samsung Galaxy Tab review. So this is a gear review. I have these open shot video editing tutorials. 4 of them are here. I have a YouTube video that talks about restoring deleted videos. And then I have about 3 Linux videos. And so these are the videos that are bringing in the most views and subscribers for the past 28 days. So now let's go ahead and dig into my data historically to see how not only my content has changed, but most importantly, my audience. So we're going to go back in time to 2015. That's when I really started Geek Outdoors. And as you can see here, I had practically no views, had 4 subscribers. And this is when I started experimenting with a lot of content. And even though it was a variety channel, I tried to keep everything in the whole geek world. And so I did a lot of movie reviews, I did game reviews, I talked about tech, and that's really where I started the whole Geek Outdoors journey. And I kept doing that. And then 2016, that's when things started to change, because then I started adding Linux videos because I absolutely love using Linux. I've been using it for many years. And so I wanted to share what I knew with people. And this is when my channel started to just really grow. And this is where the foundation of my channel really is. Because even to this day, the majority of my audience are still Linux users. And it pretty much all started here in 2016, as you could tell, where all my views came from, all my subscribers. And then as we moved over to 2017, that was still pretty much the same case, where a lot of my viewership and growth came from my Linux viewers. And this year is when I started introducing OpenShot tutorials. So this is an open source video editor. And this is when I started really getting into this whole idea of content creation, because now I've been doing it for a few years and I started developing this whole passion for creating content. And the main way that I created content is YouTube videos. And obviously the main tool that I used was video editors, and OpenShot was my primary video editor. And I thought I could share a lot of what I knew here, which then led me to 2018 is where things started to change. Because in 2018, I started making a shift to my channel where I started moving away from Linux videos, because even though I love using Linux, I am not a Linux person, meaning that that is not where I spend all my time. So I really felt like that's not the place that I could add the most value. And so where I thought I could add the most value is in my ability to create content, in my growing digital marketing experience, and just my growing love of YouTube. So that's what I started doing. And this is when things started changing. You know, even though a lot of my viewership and subscribers still came from Linux, more and more I was getting more people watching my OpenShot tutorials and other videos, but most of it was my OpenShot tutorials, which led me to 2019, which is last year. And this is where my OpenShot tutorials, my video editing tutorials really took over, and they were like consistently my top videos. And even though my Linux videos are still here, they were no longer the top videos. And then other videos I started producing, you know, more of my gear reviews, and some of my YouTube videos started picking up as well. But overall, it was mostly my OpenShot video editing tutorials. I also added Kdenlive as well. And my gear reviews just really consistently kept bringing in views and subscribers over time. And now in 2020, things are changing yet again, because my overall content strategy is going to be focusing more on video editing tutorials. And so I'm still doing OpenShot and Kdenlive videos, but I'm also now doing a lot of DaVinci Resolve tutorials and other video editors like Shotcut and Cyberlink Power Director. And I'm also adding more camera related videos as well, because this is something that I'm really starting to get into, especially after I got my Panasonic G85 a few years ago. And all of these things together will really help me not only become a better creator, but also share this knowledge with other people who are just starting out as content creators. Now, other types of videos that I have, my gear reviews and Linux videos, they're still going to be there, but they might not be as often as they used to be. And so with all of this historical data that you've seen, not only can you see that my content has changed, but most importantly, my audience, which leads me to the YouTube algorithm. For serious YouTubers, check out TubeBuddy, the premier tool news at geekoutdoors.com. Get more done today by checking out the affiliate link in the description area below. Because the YouTube algorithm is something that a lot of people talk about or maybe wonder about, but maybe they're not really sure of how this works. And even though we don't know how everything works with the YouTube algorithm, because it is very complex and it is secret material, you can still glean a lot of information by looking at the analytics and how things perform on your channel. So if you actually typed in low YouTube views, this whole idea of having low views versus your subscriber count is something that's been around for a long time. There's videos like 6 years ago that talked about this. So this isn't a new thing, and it's something that is not going away. So why does this really happen? Well, as I stated earlier, it all has to do mainly with your audience, and we could see that by going into our analytics. So if you come here and then you go to reach, what you see is where your views are coming from and how many people or the percentage that's actually clicked on your videos. And so this traffic source type is important because it tells you where your views are coming from. And so at least for me, the majority of my views are coming from YouTube search. And the second one is external, so things like Google. However, the ones that I think everybody wants to get is suggested videos and browse features, with suggested videos being the one that consistently will bring the most growth to your channel. And the reason why the audience is important is because of this right here. And so whenever you release a video, one of the main things that YouTube looks at is this whole thing called view velocity. And so in the very first 48 to 72 hours of your video being published, YouTube looks at your performance, the impressions, and most importantly, the click-through rate, the average view duration, both the watch time on the video, and more importantly is the session time, meaning how long your video keeps somebody on YouTube. So they might watch your video or they might be watching another video from your video. And so those are the main things. And so if your video is released and your audience doesn't watch or click on your videos, then YouTube is not going to recommend your videos. And so the likelihood of your videos being suggested or being browsed is a lot lower So that means your overall views is also going to be lower, and it's not going to have a very long life, at least initially, because of that. And all of those things affect your growth. And in my case, the majority of my audience, as I've shown you, is mostly still people who use Linux. And so whenever I release videos that are not Linux related videos, not as many people watch it. But as I also showed you, over time, my audience is changing. And so nowadays, whenever I release these video editing tutorials, gear reviews, stuff outside of Linux, more and more people are watching them. And so that's related to the audience that I have right now. And so in general, that's really why having these things, having a content strategy that is more focused, having the quote unquote right audience for your content, all leads to the YouTube algorithm pushing and recommending your content, which all leads you to having more growth. And so all of these things are the reasons why I feel that my channel has low views. And I've looked at many other channels who are experiencing the same thing, done a lot of research, and obviously looked at a lot of data. And that's where I think that I could make the biggest changes to my channel, i.e. being more focused, and then also really paying attention to the audience that I have. And so those are my thoughts on this whole idea of low views versus subscriber count, and also some of the main reasons why I feel this is happening. And hopefully all this information that I've shared with you will help you out as well if you are a YouTube content creator who's facing the same thing. And maybe I'll do an update video on this later in a year as I start changing my content strategy, as I start seeing the impact on my audience. And if everything goes the way that I know it will, then we're going to be having a much different video whenever I make this the next time. So if you actually had any thoughts on this, whether you are a content creator or maybe you're just curious about this whole subject, be sure to leave that in the comments area below. And if you did want to see my entire YouTube journey, I do have a playlist. I'll leave that in the description as well if you're interested. So as always, if you did get value out of these videos, be sure to share, like, and subscribe. Hey geeks, if you are a creative geek like me and you wanted to learn how to create content on YouTube and other places on the internet, then check out my Go Content Creators group where you get access to additional videos and content for all the creative geeks out there. And the best part of it is, all of this is free. Simply head over to the link below, check out my page, and sign up for my Go Content Creators group. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the other side.